Hello everyone, can you not show up on my screen? Seriously? Hello everyone, welcome to the first ever episode of Fudging L.
Forest Fox. Hooray! This did not take 3 attempts.
Yeah. welcome to the podcast, Ivy.
Hi. Yeah, I'm present. I'm here.
So would you prefer to go by as Ivy or Bear for this?
I mean, in all fairness, I really don't mind. I mean, I was just a name that I go by. Bear's the username. I mean, people know me as Bear, so feel free to call me that.
Right. Because I've known you for mainly as Ivy, I shall call you Ivy, but depending what we're talking about will depend on your name, that's alright. So obviously, if you guys don't know me, my name is Chelsea, and I played as the playwright in MissMamaMia Escape the Night, and that is now theming to what we're going to talk about today. Because also Ivy used to be in the part of season 1, and they were the sailor.
Yeah, I was the person with no parents.
Oh my god, episode 1 flashbacks. So
the ones who get it.
Yep. So we thought, for those that have watched the season, I highly recommend you go check it out. Zella's editing abilities are unlike anything I've seen for a long time.
Absolutely insane.
It is. I just thought, just get 2 British icons here to just talk about our experiences on the season. Well, does that sound to you? So
that sounds great. I'm the icon here.
Obviously.
Hello.
What were your expectations going into the season?
So, as many of you know or don't know, Mama's season took a little bit of a change. So the original cast basically all got booted because of reasons. Do you want to find out? Go ask it yourself. So joining back as one of 3 people that were in the OG cast, I was a little shaking in my boots because everyone knew that. So I was like, okay, so you guys are gonna try and boot me out because I already know the first few episodes. And a little bit of a spoiler alert, I did pretty good, which I'm shocked. I mean, I got kind of the underdog at it, but I came out on top, and that's all that matters.
So that was regarding the season that everyone is seeing, correct?
Yeah, so the season that's posted now is the actual second recording of that season, which I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Mama, don't kill me if you see this. But I'm pretty sure she's very open about it. I mean, in all fairness, in episode 10's credits, it does credit all of the OG cast. But in the OG season, I didn't do as well because I didn't know as many people, so I was a little backed up in a corner, but here's a little BTST for you.
We love that.
I had this huge fight with someone because they said my friend was useless, and then my friend died, and then they said good riddance, and let's just say I popped off. That's all we need to know.
Lord Jesus. So, in terms of my experience on this show, I guess I could say, in terms of the show,
Yeah.
I wasn't actually supposed to be casted on season 1, fun fact.
No, you was not.
So, it was a last-minute decision. Obviously, if you guys know the canonic Escape the Night, it was hosted by Joe Gacepa. In the very first season, the first ever YouTuber deaf was Shane. And he was basically going to be... People had suspected to make it quite far, I believe, when it came out back in
16?
Yeah, oh my goodness. Yeah. Can you believe it's been 7 years since the first season?
I don't want to think about it. It makes me feel old.
It makes you feel old.
Well, you're 1 year older than me.
Yeah, but you're mentally more mature than me, so there you go.
I just realized something. We're going to be using a lot of British lingo, but none of them are going to understand.
If you get it, you get it.
Exactly.
So essentially, what happened in my experience was that, again, like I said, I was supposed to be casted. I was supposed to be the Shane of the season. So Zella had invited me last minute. I think it was just supposed to be a helper. And then they asked me, hey, put on a skin and whatnot, find like a skin, and you could be in the cast and I think they said temporarily. If not, I apologize. So I thought, you know what? So there was that one moment during episode 1 where we were all gathered outside, and the clown started asking one of us to volunteer to go up on the wheel. I believe it was.
Yeah, it was the wheel. Because I screamed Wheel of Fortune.
Yes, you did. Insert clip here.
So actually do that.
Yeah, you know, editing styles and what we can do. And essentially what happened was the clown was asking us if I wanted to volunteer. And this was during the point where I was pretty positive that the clown would pick me, and that would be how I would die. However, to my absolute shock, they chose Space, which, you know, I think they picked the wrong ginger.
Yeah, they picked the wrong one.
To go on the wheel instead, and that's why, if you could tell in my voice or in my tone in a couple of scenes here, I explain my immediate concerns, and people would say it would be me jumping to conclusions, but not only was that a natural response, but also because I had that clear indication that, wait, isn't this how I was supposed to die? And then I believe I asked Zella about it after the filming had ended. I was like, did I not get killed off? Am I going to get killed episode 2? What's going to happen? And then it turns out they said something along the lines of, yeah, you can stay and see. We'll just see how far you make it. And spoilers, you guys. I do decently well. So
yeah. I mean, in all fairness, I think I remember. I don't know if this is true. Insert clip if it is. I'm pretty sure you were like, I volunteer, and then people were like, no, you don't. No, you don't. Sit down.
That wasn't me.
Who volunteered?
I think it was Alexi. Alexi was like saying, "No, I'll
do it,"
and then I was the one like sitting behind, like in front of her, telling her like, "Don't do it. I have a really bad feeling about this."
And then cue the confessional.
Yeah, so that made me think of another question to ask you, Ivy. Who did you get like? Were you close to anyone, or did you grow a progressive bond with anyone throughout the season?
I mean, okay, so at the start of the season, I was best friends with Cole. Multi, don't talk to them now. Same goes with Callie. But I actually got really close to Teddy.
Teddy is amazing.
Unlike popular belief, I did threaten them in the kitchen, but we are good friends.
Like that's because that scene was definitely shown in the trailer for everybody to see.
No, because everyone thought like I was going to be the villain, and I was like, I'm not. I'm so nice.
You were like,
I was rude.
Even though Aqua had this role, you were like a vigilante, in my opinion. Like you had like villain-esque kind of moments, but really you played it as the hero, like an anti-hero.
Literally. I also got close to like Danny in the season.
Oh,
you can tell because you were constantly calling people out.
Yeah, Danny. I'll be honest, I never had the best one of them to begin with, but like looking back at the season now, they are just an incredible person. Like their personality she has so much energy, and I feel like laughter is the best medicine, as they all say. So whenever someone is down, I recommend watching just a scene of Danny like being an absolute fool.
Hi, Mr. Shucky. Why you got eyes?
Is there anyone else, or would you like me to explain who I got close
to? I mean, obviously you, but I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. I wouldn't be here now.
Yeah. I promise you guys, he's here by free will.
No, I'm not. I've got a gun to my head.
No!
But, like, I also became, like, good friends with Mama, even though they were to me. No, I'm joking. Love Mama. But yeah, I got good friends with Mama and Gothwa, too.
We're both quite close to Space. I'm definitely, obviously, closer to him, because, obviously, he's my Discord brother.
Oh, gosh.
So, is that all of them?
Yeah, to be honest. I mean, my thing was, when I was in the season, I wasn't looking for friends. I'm gonna be so honest. Like, That's why if people thought I was very, like, disjointed, it's true. I was just trying to escape. I was just trying to win because, like, it's my first recorded escape at night.
And you absolutely
I wanted to make an impact because every one I did, I'd always either survive or die in episode 9. So I was like, I need to get out. I need to win.
You need to live. We love that. So, in terms of the people I got close to in the season, I definitely got close to you. I wouldn't say I got close to Space just because I already knew them, but I felt like I had that brotherly, like that, sibling bond to him a bit more in the season. Like, I felt like he was protecting me and I was protecting him. Because I believe there was one scene at the start of episode 2, I walked up to him completely worried, like, are you okay? Like, he had just almost been murdered, so... one of the people that I ideally, like, remember and got close to, and I wish they're doing the best, is definitely Alexi, who also goes by Katia. She's an absolute sweetheart. It was her first recorded, like, ever, like, ETN, ever. Like, recorded, posted, anything like that. She blew us all away, and, like, I think it's because both her and I are voice actresses. We kind of, like, developed that bond really early on, and it, I can't say anything else, but I don't think the season would be the same without her.
I mean, I don't, and I feel like if a thing happened in one of the episodes, I think you know which one I meant. If you were successful, I think that's the key word here. If you were successful in the episode and didn't fail miserably at doing happy birthday,
okay,
the season would have been much different.
Like, I understand. Like, I remember some people, like, I was just so terrified after the episode aired. I was like, great, people are gonna, like, think, oh my god,
you're a flop.
Yeah, that, or like I threw the challenge and whatnot, but I swear you guys,
to save your friends.
like obviously it's devastating to know that. Honestly, I'm kind of glad that Alexi didn't choose me to be their partner, because
I mean, they would have died.
We love you, Alexi, I swear. It's like,
I'm gonna be so honest with you. I would never pick you to be my partner.
I would pick myself. It's like, here's the thing, right? Like, I would say, considering it was my first time ever touching redstone and, like, note blocks, I didn't...
Excuse me?
Yeah.
I was making a joke there. I don't think you got it. Innocent minds.
Yeah. So, not to mention, because if you look through the episode of, spoilers ahead, you guys, Banana and, do they go by Banana or Aiden? Aiden? Okay. So,
yeah.
I thought they used to go by Banana. Anyway, so Aiden and Alexi...
Well, that's a controversial topic that we won't get into.
Okie dokie.
Not in this episode of the pod.
Not in this one. Not the first episode. So essentially, Aiden and Alexi were voted into the first death challenge, and I guess, like, the first death challenge is always the one scariest, in my opinion.
Because no one wants to die first.
No one wants to die first, and obviously we had no idea what to expect. And when it was a partner challenge, admittedly,
I mean, I did.
No offense to Aiden, but he did throw a little bit of shade before he went down into the basement. I don't know if that's 100% true or if things are just cut out. I don't 100% know. If I am wrong, I sincerely apologize. But that's just...
What was said? Wait.
I don't know. There was just like a time where people were just fond of them. I do not know. Like, if you were to know it, I could not, like, properly ask you. And it was a partner challenge. So, I believe Alexi picked Antonio and then Banana picked me.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Rookie mistake.
But the thing is, I didn't do horribly. That's the thing that I'm proud of myself of. Even if I had failed them, and I feel so bad for it even today. I gave it my all.
Even though you couldn't do happy birthday.
Okay, look. Like, for, like, the first, like, half, like half the death challenge, I was pretty much neck and neck with Antonio. Like, it wasn't like I wasn't trying at all. And like, that's what I felt proud of myself in, even though I was absolutely gutted seeing just like Aiden get decapitated. I tried.
Yeah. And that's all we can ask you to do.
Yeah. Let's see, what else? Any questions you have for me whilst I try to think?
Okay. I've got a question for you.
Okay.
So, when okay, this is gonna be a little bit of a controversial question. When interacting with the cast, who do you think was the hardest one to get along with?
When what, sorry?
When, like, talking to the cast,
oh yeah,
who do you think the hardest person to get along with was? Like, I'll just get a point across to.
Like, get a point across to?
Yeah. Feel free to say me, because I'm stubborn as hell.
No, I got along with you quite well. Like, even if you could be seen, quote unquote, as stubborn, you still listened. So,
yeah,
I guess the only person that comes into mind is because me and them had a rough patch. I would just have to say Shulk.
I'd say Callie.
Yeah, I would say one of those two.
Ooh, I'm gonna get cancelled.
Oh my goodness.
No, he won't. Because in all fairness, love them both to pieces. In that high pressure setting, it's easy for anyone to snap or want stuff their way. Yeah. So I understand.
Like, no one's exactly in the wrong. It just really depends of how much of the pressure you can handle. Because
exactly,
people would think being Escape the Night is like really easy. It is.
It's not.
It is and it isn't to an extent. Is it fun being able to like walk around in a beautiful map and like experience things firsthand and like get to experience what you were watching like when you were younger or like even today, because by the time this
season 5,
season 5, it's officially been confirmed. So like it's just so nostalgic, I guess is the best way to describe it, to be inside that setting. But at the same time, there is a lot of responsibility. Yes, you won't have to do as much as like the director or like as the person hosting it. So massive kudos and respect to Zella and really any other person that's doing their ETN, such as Ivy, because that takes a lot of motivation and dedication.
Cheeky little plug.
Love you.
But like, yeah, carry on. Sorry.
It's alright. I lost my train of thought for a second. But yeah, it takes a lot of responsibility to create an ETN, and even the cast, again, doesn't have to do as much. You also still have to pull in the same way, even if it's not like within the recorded time. Like, you also need to communicate in terms of like, maybe like triggers or something, times like availability, how flexible your schedule is, stuff like that.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna just, try to get us off track, but I don't think in my season, for example, like, the biggest tip that I've got is listen to your cast because they're what make your season.
Exactly.
So, like, I've had a little bit of ups and downs with my cast, but everything that I do, I kind of take into account what they need, or, like, stuff like that. So, like, by the time this gets out, the cast reveal video will probably be up. The new one.
The new one, yeah.
So, some people had to leave because I took a break.
We're really happy to see you back. That's the one thing. And speaking
I'm
of
back.
Your season 1, as you said, Ivy does have a teaser out for their season. However, due to some cast members having to leave for reasons, it will also be revamped. So, let us know, or let Ivy know when the new teaser comes out. Who would you want to root for?
Yes. Who are you rooting for? Because I know who I'm rooting for. I mean, I probably shouldn't say that because, like, I'm the person that makes it.
Yeah,
but I have the people I want to be successful. Exactly.
Well, you could say who could do well, depending on if they've already been revealed or not, like in the original.
Yeah, true. In all fairness, the people I want to do well are like a couple of the new ones, and then obviously there's the people I know who are going to do well because of like their previous track records.
Any names you want to say, or you want to keep that to yourself?
I'm gonna keep that to myself for now because if it's just I say a name and they die episode 1, it'll be really embarrassing for me.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of another question, but I don't want this podcast to go on for too long. Obviously this will include spoilers for MissMamaMia This Get the Night, and we apologise. But were there any deaths that like shocked you, like people that you weren't expecting to go when they did?
Okay, so let me be so honest. I'll go through each episode.
The list.
I'll go through each episode.
Out.
I created a whole like helpfulness chart. It would not be the first thing.
Oh lord.
So episode 2, obviously people are obviously going to be shocked. I mean, it's the first death, but it's the fact that everyone was coming after Aiden, which kind of made it less of a shocking thing. Like, you didn't defend yourself, even though the poor guy couldn't even talk. Episode 3, watching it, Francis should have won.
It was so unfair. I'm sorry to cut you off, but it was quite, like, unfair for, Cole to... Shulk or Cole, I apologize if I am saying your name wrong or using the wrong name. It was really unfair of the... Shulk. It was really unfair for them to just shove Francis into the car.
And snatch it. I was like, oh?
It was not right.
No, which, it was like, I was taken a little bit off guard as well, like, when watching it. And especially, like, BTS, when we were told about how it went, I was like, wait, so what happened? Like, what was going on? And then all the stories got mixed up and stuff. So that was a shocker when I watched it at the time, not as much, because I voted for both of them.
Yeah, I feel like we all kind of came to a point where we all decided, because I think it was quite confirmed, well, through the cast perspective during recording, that Francis and Shulk were working together. They were in some kind of alliance, they were buddy-buddy to each other for the entire time, and they were somehow, one way or another, causing conflicts with other people in the cast, and make them turn against
And I was in that alliance, but nobody knew!
Oh my god. So we kind of figured out, right, we have to put these two in to see, like, what's going on. So,
yeah.
When Shulk came back, we thought most likely Shulk just won the death challenge. But watching it back and seeing, like, Francis could easily have won. Like,
yeah.
It could have gone either way.
Speaking of which, it was more of a gag in episode 4 when Cole confirmed that Francis was linked to the evil.
Which made me think of a theory, which I'm not sure if anyone else has for the theory, most likely they have. But do you think it's kind of funny how, do you remember, I think it was in episode 2, that Francis was the one reading about what's going on in the house?
Yeah,
Because at the time, I just thought, maybe Francis just wanted to read, like, to get to know themselves, to be immersed, like, what's going on. But upon looking it back, I thought, maybe that was planned. Like, the way that Francis read it as well, like, it sent chills and whatnot. Like,
it was eerie.
It really was. Francis did an incredible job.
Okay, episode 4. No, episode 4 I was gagged, considering Glenn got voted in because of a penalty vote.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh?
And then it was me.
Yeah. I could see why you went in that episode, because of the bunny.
No, the banner.
The banner. The banner challenge.
No, the bunny was really cute. Danny did the banner, and it's actually really adorable. Here's the thing. I wasn't sure.
What was your banner?
It was... I don't even even know what the heck it was. Because here's the thing, I generally thought it was supposed to be going off base of a memory. I didn't know Google was allowed because, you know, keeping it aesthetically wise, the Google did not exist.
It was
we have everyone using Google to make these beautiful designs, and here for my piece of poop. It was an actual piece of poop.
What was going through your minds when making that banner?
What would you think? Like, look, I don't think I was thinking of anything. I just probably just saw the colour of my hair and thought, oh, love. I just want, you know, orange heart, see what happens.
No, it didn't even... The gradient. I swear yours had a gradient on it, and it just made half of the heart disappear.
It was like an orange fading heart for some reason. I'll probably like put a clip up of what it looked like, or a screenshot of what it looked
I'm sorry, that was...
Look, okay, it made the audience laugh, alright?
Everybody was silent in that room.
I was so disappointed in myself.
I remember joining BC just to listen because I did my test before, and just everyone going silent when she were explaining it, and I was like, I want to see what this is. And when I watched the episode back, I was like...
And they just have, like, Garflo, who was playing the vote take of season 1, who was literally like, I want you to get that piece of beep, like, I want you to get that piece of doo-doo off my table. I was like, okay.
It was wild.
It was incredibly
The
wild.
episode 5.
Oh my god, don't even get me started. But in terms of, like, in terms of Glenn, though, I obviously...
Oh, yeah, Glenn.
It was so sad to see her go. And, fun fact, I'm not sure I'm allowed to say this, but she was reacted that episode. So,
yeah.
It would feel even worse to kill her off, because she wouldn't have been there to experience it herself. But at the same time, I wanted to live. And I think...
Yeah, and you're not gonna get yourself up.
Yeah, like, I gave it all I had, I assure you. And I'm completely honest, if it wasn't for me finding that candle base by pure luck, I think I would have been dead way sooner.
Yeah, true.
And that would have been a whole jar of pickles in itself.
Dead by episode 4. Imagine... Like, we both made it to the, like, second half of the season.
Yeah,
Imagine dying in episode 4 now.
I was on the last few to die, I think. That's actually quite impressive if you think about, like, how many people were in the
Literally. 14!
So to be, like, one of the last few to die, that's an achievement in itself, in my opinion.
To survive. Sorry, anyways. Episode 5.
Probably, like, one of the bigger gags of the season, I think, without a doubt. I'm not just saying it to, like, show favoritism, because obviously Space is my Discord brother, as I stated. But he should not have died. I'm sorry, it should not have been him.
My thing is, with that episode, I love that twist. But, damn, the repercussions of that, I wasn't in that episode. I had to be what he acted. But when we refilmed the ending bit, just, like, being there, even though you all knew what was happening, was more of a shock in itself.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I didn't know much. And also, you got called out that episode.
I did. Even today, I'm still slightly confused about it. I genuinely because I feel like someone said, that Teddy said something like, oh, you want to vote for me or something like that? And I guarantee you, like, those words have never left my mouth, I'm pretty sure.
It was me and Danny.
you two simultaneously called me out almost at the exact same time when I just had an old conversation with you explaining a drama that happened with you. But you know what? We live, we learn, we grow, you know, that sort of thing.
But, like, that episode... Do I think Space should have died? No. Do I think that's the only episode he probably could have died other than the next one? Yes.
I just, like, the way the death planned out was so dramatic, and I loved it.
Bizarre.
Like, it was so good. Like, the zombies, like, he gets surrounded by the zombies, they charge into the walls, like, the gaps. he starts screaming, and then the walls just crush him, and like crushing him to death like a trash compactor.
Is the fact, if you think about it, they didn't need to pull the lever.
They didn't.
Like, if they got him out of the thing before the zombies got to him, they could have both lived.
And can we just take a zoom in on who was the one that pulled the lever? Oh, can we not to
Callie! I love her. Like, that was the most iconic thing she did that season. So I was like, what if I pull the lever? Does it open up?
And it kind of, like, here's the thing that finds it even more funny. Because Alexi was constantly blaming herself for the death of him, and I felt, like, gutted for, and, like, space throughout the episode throughout the death challenge was like, oh, like, if you kill me, I'm gonna be, like, really mad. And obviously, I'm trying my best not to swear and whatnot. But, like, you know,
Yeah.
like, you know, I was gonna be really mad, but I was more upset that he was gone. Like, why would I hate her?
Exactly.
And not even to mention that she was the one that killed me. She had, like, probably a really smart idea. She thought she could break both of them out and then be fine.
Exactly.
But
broke Callie out. Callie pulled the lever! And then tried to flip it again to try and open it up. Like, they're already dead. You don't need to open it back up.
Oh my goodness.
Oh god. The episode was, like, wild. Like,
It was wild.
I couldn't imagine being there.
It did reintroduce the whole bag of coins situation. Obviously, I believe it was gold nuggets, I think we used.
Yeah.
Because obviously in the canonic season, they used bags of coins for All-Star Season 3. All-Star Season 4, Episode 3. There we go, thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. My English ain't that good, but we'll get there. Moving on to Episode 6. The double.
Okay. So episode 1 kinda gagged, episode 2 kinda gagged, episode 3 kinda gagged, episode 4.
I'm seeing a pattern.
Like, I was surprised in all of these deaths, but in episode 6. Like, I get that it was a double death, but I kinda saw it coming.
Yeah, I feel like there has to be a double death with the amount of cast members that were still left alive.
But also, Mama came back in that episode, so something big would have had to happen.
I just, you know, I just loved her being with us in that moment.
I was on Mama's side, so I'm not gonna say anything.
Like, here's the thing. In my head, I was so furious at the fact that Zella had just walked in, like nothing had happened, and this was during where I was to the point where I had lost space, like I had lost my brother. So mentally, I was in the right spot anyway. I was about to say space, no pun intended. And I just had like a massive bone or grudge against them that I was like, oh, there was like one part in the episode when we like found out we had to betray someone, where I literally like almost like yelled at Zella, go like, you haven't witnessed half of us die, Zella, so you can't talk sheet. Like,
A sheet.
Sheet, like a bed sheet. Yeah. So moving on from that, unfortunately, the person to get voted into like this gas tube, what would you call it?
Yeah, gas chamber.
Gas chamber is Aqua the Vigilante. Vigilante. I don't exactly know.
Which, in all fairness, BTS here, he wanted to die.
I know, like, I remember, like, when he got, like, called out, he started cheering. I was like, mate, if that was me, I'd been running. I'd been running. I would have...
He started cheering. He started cheering and then walked into himself. Like, there was no push. He jumped in and closed the door and was like, peace.
I know, I thought he looked like a kid that was, like, ready to go down a water slide. I guarantee, like... It's one of the things, like, naturally... I would have done like a Justine in season 1. I would have made a run for it if I was about to be betrayed. I would not have been in that room.
I couldn't. I genuinely could not.
So yeah.
Like, my thing is, I'm so glad. Sorry to cut you off again. I'm so glad I didn't have to do that, because imagine having to act out your death in front of everyone in the whole cast.
Oh my goodness. But we'll get to that a bit later. So afterwards, obviously, Aqua's not even pushed. They step into the chamber happily, and it starts like like this really cool effect happens where like it starts turning green. Like I'm assuming they get poisoned or something, like poisonous gas or something.
Poison gas. I'm trying to miss it. Season 1.
Poisonous gas. Got ungodly machine. And they just fell to the ground. Their eyes became bloodshot, and they just dropped. But we
didn't get an artifact.
No, we did, right? Yeah, but we got the artifact, but it was at the stake of losing 2 people. So after Aqua is quote unquote supposedly dead, they then come back and have to perform this ritual to possibly
betray one of us.
Literally betray one of us. So it's kind of like that ritual say, if I'm going down, I'm taking you with me.
Yeah.
And they
it's like a jet or something. What's it called?
Yeah. So they choose to betray Antonio.
And
as you can see here, like it shocked us because like obviously we kind of knew because like we had to re-record it a few times. But it was shocking to hear, like, just to see it in the moment, like, actually being on screen. We're all just talking about, like, what to do. Like, we just got this artifact, Aqua's dead, yada, 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 yada. And all of a sudden, the window just smashes. And I swear, that window needs to be reinforced. The amount of time that window has broken.
I was like, come on! Like, why that window? Like, coming through the back door, like...
Come through the wall even, but no, they choose that same window, and, like, this experimental monster or something, like, experiment of some kind, busts through the window, grabs Antonio, and drags him out, and then throws him down the stairs? Like, something happens.
Yeah, where he smashes his skull open and bleeds out.
So that's episode 6, so we are just over halfway there. Episode 7...
Oh, no. My favorite episode, because I wasn't at risk here.
Episode 7 is quite emotional.
Down at the bottom of the deep blue sea.
What? Yep. I believe the title was changed, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's called Deep Blue Sea.
It was called something different before then, wasn't it?
I'm pretty sure.
But regardless of that, episode 7 is featured around mermaids and sharks, I believe.
Hi, Mr. Sharky.
And there was at 2 points throughout the actual season where this happened. It was a 4-person challenge in season 3, episode 8, where the idea was first introduced, and that was obviously in the Witches, where we super sadly lost Rosanna. And then it happened again during All-Stars in the Pirate Challenge, and that's when we lost Alex. In this season, with MissMamaMia's, it was a 4-person challenge of the females. So whilst Shulk and...
Other than Danny.
Other than Danny as well. So when Shulk and Bear, Ivy, I apologize, got, like, captured by the sirens...
We were trying to...
Yeah, they got. I don't know who had it worse. The females, so obviously myself, Alexi, Teddy, Danny, and Callie, we were all forced to go to the pool area and play this game where we had to like get items from chests and bring them to create match them to this board, I guess. And Danny, long story short, wins immunity and whatnot, and she is safe for the death challenge. Whilst the 4 of us, however, have to compete. And it was quite confusing because we had to pick a certain colour. But what colour we picked would depend on the difficulty of how hard the challenge would be. So I thought picking orange would be my opus. It would be like my saviour. I had one of the most difficult challenges to do out of the 4 of them. It was a bit frustrating, but at least I had an orange tulip. I was fine.
Exactly.
So it was between the 4 of us. I believe Alexi finished first. She was like a comp beast pretty much for the season. Then it was Teddy.
Wow.
So then afterwards it was sorry, go ahead. I'm
gonna be honest. If you you wouldn't know because you were obviously competing. But as somebody that was in spectator watching it happen, Teddy finished first, but Alexi screamed it before. So Alexi was like put down as finishing first, and Teddy was second, and Teddy actually beat Alexi.
I would say like vice versa. It would have happened. Like anything could happen between those two. So the final two were myself and Callie, and this is where unfortunately my death happens. So I would say episode 7 it's quite a decent spot to get, you know?
Yeah,
like
I agree.
Like the final few to die, like that's quite a big achievement for me.
It is.
And obviously I was thinking, what the heck is gonna happen to me? So I was thinking I'll have this really emotional moment with the guests, I walk over to them, and then all of a sudden, like, the mermaid just says, I'm not doing it. I was like, can I leave then? Can I leave? But of course not. Of course not. And this mermaid sound like waves like this purple magical mist, and all of a sudden Alexi, Teddy, and Callie like become possessed, like their eyes become purple, and they start like ordering them to attack me.
Chelsea, I can't see.
Like they start like ordering them to attack me. So I get like grabbed by the arms and just held above the pool. I'm like, right, this is not what I like. And I'm still very proud of my confession, my last confession I had. It's one thing to be killed by a monster, and that at the time that was what my character was mentally prepared for. So she knew she was going to get stabbed by the mermaids, or something was going to happen to her regarding the monster. But it hurt more knowing it was, you know, her people that she thought were her friends doing most of the dirty work. Like, you would think they could have snapped out of it and they could have helped, like, prevented, you know, death as they had thought they could do. But it was inevitable, and my character was slashed, diced, and, well, pretty much, like, slashed multiple times with a trident, lowered down, and drowned pretty much.
Yeah.
Now, episode 8 is so heartbreaking.
This episode was the most twisted, bizarre, weird thing that I've ever had to deal with. So, like, going into, like, these different worlds, like, I had to do the weird little pig thing with the bunnies and the pigs and stuff coming in constantly. I had to pretend to have a party. And that whole task in general was so weird. And then you had the shot and Kelly thing where they had to do like the performance, which was a choice. I'll say that.
Because it's insane to think. Like, I remember during watching like the behind the scenes of season 3, Matt Pat was like going when he was dead. Like, if I was still alive, what task would I have done and whatnot? Which I feel like is a very strategic and like smart thing to do.
Yeah.
So I was thinking to myself, like, if I was in that same sort of like in that same kind of headspace, and I thought that was the one task I wanted to do. Because again, as a voice actress, that is my element.
Exactly. But then also, like, with that, what I find really ironic is the fact in the episode, Danny and Teddy are working together on their little bow and arrow shooting thing. And then in the end, it's them full circle, and then Danny died.
Because Danny had the choice to kill herself or kill Teddy. If you were in that scenario, and say if it was either you or Danny or you and Teddy, what would you do? Okay,
so technically speaking, I was in that scenario because this was the first episode I was ever put into a death challenge. So I did. And it was me versus Danny. And I love Danny to pieces, but I came way too far to lose.
Yeah, so you came too far to just turn back now, sort of thing.
Give it all up. Like, so I love Teddy and I love Danny, but in that moment, I want to get out. I want to win.
Yeah.
So I would choose myself to save.
You would choose to save yourself. It's
Yeah.
difficult to exactly say, because again, I was unfortunately dead by that point, so it's difficult to say who I would betray.
Yeah.
I didn't know Danny that well. Excuse me, sorry. I hadn't known them that well, but I do know they had just won immunity the last episode.
Exactly.
So it was like, even if I didn't know them, I would have killed myself off too. To be completely honest.
Oh.
I would have chosen myself to die, not only in a emotional state of there's no way I could keep going with the mindset I currently had of attacking, of like being so passive aggressive to Zella.
Yeah.
For having that grudge that her brother is dead and all her like friends are dead, but also because she wanted to see her brother again, and I guess in a way she got what she wanted just a bit sooner.
Yeah.
And it would just make more sense to have, as like most people say, to keep the strongest people moving forward. By that point, I was pretty certain I was going to die after 7, just because of like, I was pretty much one of the weakest ones by that point. I would say the main reason I got kept alive was my social game. Like, I did whatever I could to prevent getting into dramas, but obviously that didn't exactly work for some points.
What you did, I think, was you were a good narrator. That's what dragged you along, I think. And then as soon as you got into episode 7, I don't think you were the weakest dad. Because you had Callie. But like, if I had to rank it, especially for episode 7, it would probably have been Danny, Shock, me, Alexi, you, Callie. No, wait, Alexi, Teddy, you, Callie. So you were one of the bottoms, but you weren't the weakest. I think if Callie died in that episode, you would have been the weakest in episode 8.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's difficult to think about it, but I guess we have one more death episode to go through, and then we should sadly be done. Episode 9. Teddy.
Oh, I got immunity this episode. So, a little BTS to this. I was supposed to die in this episode.
Yeah, I remember hearing something about that.
Yeah, so, everyone was basically kind of teasing me not trying as hard. Yeah. Because they thought I was going to die. So when I won immunity, everyone was kind of gagged. And then they all started panicking and stuff. And Callie actually cried. Mama's got the footage. Callie cried to me because she was like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to die, etc., blah, blah, blah. And it was, considering me and Callie weren't close by that point, because a lot of drama happened, it's not I didn't want to comfort her, but I just didn't have that right mind space to be like, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So, a little wild.
So, as how we were doing by recapping the deaths, Teddy's by far was one of the most dramatic ones, by far. I would say Danny has one of the most dramatic ones. Like, those two.
Exactly.
It's sad, but I feel like it was a good spot for those two to go when they did, or if that's live. Because I feel like more emotional deaths are more at the end to leave that, like, impact.
I agree.
And again, Shulk is being shady. Like, I understand you're winning a death challenge. Exactly. It's like they showed nothing. Seeing Teddy just get forcefully, like, dropped into the ground by leaves and nature, burned, and then hung.
And then basically turned into a tree.
Like, a burnt tree. Like, someone literally started a forest fire in a little hole. I'm not even kidding. Like, I'm not just saying that to make, no pun intended, to this podcast name. But
no.
Yeah, definitely not that. Like, it would just hurt to, like, see someone that was just alive 2 seconds ago be, like struggling, gasping for air as their body is just dangling in the air. Like, if that were me, I would try and cut them down. Even if it meant like being
Like,
forcibly held back by the monster, I would just not let Teddy die like that.
my thing was, I mean, and I think you can agree here, when people died, we had this conversation before.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
When people died, they turned really inactive because they had no other reason to be there. So when they like went, it was like it actually went. You didn't hear from them, and it was like, which made it more sad because you knew as soon as they were dead, you wouldn't really talk to them anymore.
That's the saddest thing, because it shocked us with how well everyone kind of got along with at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So it felt more strange and more realistic as the season went on, because once they kind of got killed off within the season, like that's kind of where like they stopped communicating with us entirely. So it's like, even though we knew it was Minecraft,
Yeah.
but there was some sort of like emotional emotional immersive, I guess, experience where it's like these are your friends, yes, and this is just like, all like a fun hosting, but it seemed realistic to the point if they were actually dead. Obviously they're not, but you can't help but have that feeling.
Yeah. Now I wanna know from you. Out of the survivor picks, how would you rank them?
Oh, so in the season there were 4 survivors. There was yourself, Alexi, Shulk, and Callie.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, by track, I would say Callie was, I'm afraid, like one of the more one of them I didn't think would make it to the end.
Yeah.
Then I would say Shulk, because sometimes some actions they made with their character kind of made them a bit off-putting at times.
Yeah.
Then I would say, between you and Alexi, you both brought so much, but in terms of the most helpful, I would say, okay, I would do it. It could be vice versa depending on how you're ranking them. In terms of the final 4, who was the most like immersed, like who you could keep watching because of how they react and whatnot, like their acting, I would personally, for me, I would put Alexi above you, just because of their voice acting, their incredible reactions. I remember there was one point in episode 5 where I think she pretended to throw up because of having like all the blood and intestines and all that stuff splashed on her when not Teddy died, when Space died.
Teddy died.
But in terms of ranking generally, in terms of who was the most practical, who was the most helpful, it has to be you. And I'm not just saying that because you have so yeah, but like I just feel like you brought so much this season. You were like so natural to look at. Like you felt so within your element. You didn't feel uncomfortable. Like it felt like you were meant to be there. And it's like I mean that in the way that everyone deserved to be that. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But the reason why I would put you above Alexi, because not only was that her first one, but sometimes it seemed more cinematic with some of the times and how she reacted. And I guess I also did have the element of my death, which I honestly do. There's nothing wrong with being cinematic in the slightest. But I feel like in terms of realism and like actually being there in a moment to a more realistic Escape the Night season, you definitely gave the most Survivor-esque character throughout the entire thing. So,
like, I feel like with me, what it was I wrote the drama and the drama was needed, but then I would also constantly test. So, like, I'd keep everyone in line.
Yeah.
But then also, if anyone stepped out of line, I'd block it.
And that's something that I really admire about you. Like, you're not afraid to say something when it needs to be said. Like, you're not afraid of the repercussions. Like, you just want to get stuff done. Like, your main objective was just to get out of there. Like, you generally wanted to, quote-unquote, escape the night, because I don't think someone could handle just witnessing all your friends get picked off one by one and just think, this is fine. Like, everyone wants that mindset of getting out to, you know, not be in that headspace anymore.
Exactly, which I feel like is one of the reasons why I didn't choose to get as close to people.
Yeah.
Because the second you get close to people is the second you get that emotional connection, and then when they die, or if they die, then you kind of lose that fire.
Exactly.
Like, I've gotten much closer to you since filming because, like, I've got no reason to not.
Aww. This is such a sweet way to end, just to bring the first episode of Forest Friends to an end. So I guess the walk and talk of the forest forecast is now complete. Ivy, I would love to thank you so much for joining me on this first episode and really just expressing our experiences, going through the death order, and just really having a good little conversation with one another.
Exactly. Just make sure to tune in because when my season comes out, Chelsea's going to be interviewing every single one of the cast members about their experience and my season.
Like, also, let me know in the comments, who do you think I should interview next? Obviously, this is my first attempt at doing a podcast, so it's really interesting, not gonna lie, because everyone really knows me as a voice actress. They don't actually get to see me talk as just
talking.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So let me know what you thought of this interview. Anything I could do to make it better, more realistic. Please let me know your thoughts down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and definitely go subscribe to Ivy's channel and stay tuned.
Because if you don't, I will come to your house and murder you.
Oh,
I'm joking. I'm joking.
This went from sweet to psycho.
Oh, she. We're gonna do that.
Don't get them on a diet.
Internet is clicking.
Yep. Again, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Again, please stay tuned for Ivy's season. I can guarantee nothing but a massive success. And I guess I'll catch you all in the next forest.